Hello and welcome to the EPROM line, where we're going to be taking the piss out of some comments because why the hell not? I screen capped them, I thought it'd be fun. I was thinking of doing all the fancy editing like I Hate Everything does, but then I thought, nah, I'm saving that for another video which is going to be based on my spectrum analyzer. I had some more good ideas for it this morning in the shower. So, our first comment we will be analysing and taking the piss out of is this one. And it's from whoever this person is. And it's one where I obviously took the piss out of Windows because that's what I like to do. And it's Windows is the best software. It's your problem that you don't know how it works. First off, no. Depends on what you want to do with Windows. Windows is great for your very general purpose sorts of activities. But it's not so good if you want to get into the really nitty-gritty stuff. You know, you want to go to Linux if you want to get into software development hardcore. And also Linux if you're doing anything to do with security. You do not touch Windows. You do not try to hack computers with Windows. Unless you're hacking into the Windows machine itself. And yeah, while I don't know every fine detail of how Windows works, I do have enough of an idea that I know what I'm talking about and can have quite some fun playing around in the Windows files from time to time. Our next comment is... Do I even bother to reply to that? Not bad, but you have an annoying tone to your voice, a bit like a spoiled child. I had to stop watching partway in order to recover. This is a good one. And then of course there's me just like, yeah, I don't give a shit. But yeah, I will agree. I do have a terrible voice, but as I say, there's nothing I can do about that. You know, it's very high-pitched, it's very squeaky, you know. I can't bear to hear it, personally. That's part of why I don't do much into the editing, because I can't stand the sound of my own voice. You know, it's not as bad as a child screeching in a supermarket, but it's not far off for me. And a spoilt child, are you sure? Because I don't behave much like a spoilt child. I mean, I'm currently building a little module that I'm going to plug into the back of my DX8 controller so I can control my Hubsan quadcopter with my lovely fancy controller, which is really nice. Seriously, this is the trouble, I ramble. But this thing feels so good to use, it beats the arse off of game console controllers. But I do reckon the manufacturers of these things could really learn a tip or two about ergonomics from the game console manufacturers. And of course we have get off the weed and alcohol. Ah, you got ironically look, Jack Daniels profile picture. Well, pixelated Jack Daniels that you'd see in, I don't know, Undertale. First off, I haven't even tried weed. I personally find people who are on weed amusing. I find people who are drunk are obnoxious arseholes who I can't stand most of the time. There are exceptions to the rule, but I find the majority of people just become absolute arseholes when they're drunk. Weed, they're kind of laid back, they just want to watch films and eat. Yeah, I've never really been appealed in trying weed myself, because I'm a non-smoker and I don't find the idea of inhaling something burning into my lungs much fun. And frankly, I don't like the taste of alcohol and how it makes you feel. And then we have this is in reference to that car mat that was in the garage. Nice mat. Do you play on that after a game of PC? That, how you've worded that is absolutely stupid. Do you play on that after a game of PC? Game of PC? What are you talking about? Are you talking about when I'm messing around with the PCs? Or are you talking about when I'm playing games on them? You might want to, you know, do something called proofreading on your comments before you hit post. Because then your comments make sense when you read them. The next one. We've got a third one from this fella. I forgot how many they left. And then, yeah, if he talks like you and keeps drifting of subject. I've never heard of drifting of subject, by the way. It's usually drifting off subject. That's what weed and alcohol does. I'm afraid that's proven wrong in that I've never tried weed and I'm not much of an alky drinker. And you could do blood tests and prove that. And then makes you fucking retire. I love this bit because does this mean by this logic you have a PhD? Because I've got my undergrad, which I got a first in, and my master's, which I got a merit in, and I build robots in my spare time for fun. Even though that's not a robot, they're in the cupboard. But you get the point. Or I do software multiplexing in my spare time for fun on the Arduino. Yeah, not something retarded people tend to do. And then, whoever disagrees with you can suck my stick. Whoever disagrees, you can suck my stick. Yeah, once again, Mr. Danny, you might want to do that thing called proofreading. Because if you try to submit a thesis, I mean, you must know this, of course. Because you must have a fucking PhD. But, you know, you should know better that you need to proofread your work. All the professors will look at it and be like, yeah, this is crap, you got to proofread it. You know, come on, you must know it. You must have your PhD. And the next one, these sorts are my favourites. this is in reference to my tear down of the laser pointer. I love these people. They just post such fun comments that I just love to take the piss out of. And it's just fuck you, and they don't use the proper definition of YOU. No, they've got to be a lazy arsehole and just use the letter. You gay motherfucker. Have they spelled that wrong? Then you want a comma. Then, if you didn't want the laser, give it away. Fuck safety. I actually still have that laser and I rebuilt it. Do I have it to hand? I don't know. Here it is. I rebuilt it, Mr. David. Look. And I even stuck an infrared filter on the front. I rebuilt it because, well, I felt like rebuilding it. I had my fun taking it apart because, well, that's what I like doing. And if you've watched anything about my channel, you'd realise I like taking things apart. And if that involves Dremeling apart a laser, I don't care. If I need to use the Dremel to crack something open, I will. And if it breaks the functionality, yeah, I got to see the infinite. If you care so much about safety, hang on, if you care about safety so much, tell the army to use That's brilliant! You know, bearing in mind I'm someone who can't spell for shit myself, this is just a new level. Till, for the word tell, the army to use Nerf guns. And then guns, why? Oh, is this supposed to be why don't you? Once again, you might want to use the proper words because it makes it a lot easier to read what you're trying to convey. Because this is just gibberish. And also, why calling everyone that you hate gay? I don't get that. Maybe this guy's probably just a kid, which would explain a lot of this. And then this is obviously in... hang on, no. Let's just read this because I don't remember exactly what this is from. Steve sucks, and they got the P thing, and you know. Oh wait, you can see him on the camera. P.S. You have to buy an item so you can sell an item on Steam. If you want to sell the item from the game. What is this rant about? Because I know about the trading system, and as far as I can remember, I have not done a video where I've even mentioned the Steam trading system. Once again, please just use proper English, people. And it's just, yeah. You get these odd trading guard things when you unlock achievements and whatnot, and I fail to really give a shit about them. They often have neat artwork on, I'll give them that. And then we've got stupid nerd. I can't remember if I approve this or not, or if it's one. Oh wait, that's one. But that's quite funny. Yes, you do realise nerds are the people who got like Neil Armstrong on the moon, who invented television, radio, computers, the internet. You know, that kind of thing. So they're kind of not very stupid. It's the people who call them stupid that are stupid. It's a shame your comment wasn't more interesting, or we could spend more time discussing it. Then we've got, this sounds like obviously a kid, obviously a kid, obviously a kid. You just won the award for the gayest voice ever. You know what, I wouldn't entirely disagree with you, but the way you phrase that, yeah, you are not a mature adult. Then you have this one. They're obviously a fan of the Mega Drive, which is good, so good choices in consoles there. I hate you and I don't even know you. Wrong, no. K-N-O-W. This is coming from someone who can't spell. If I'm telling you you've got problems with your spelling, then you got real bad problems with your spelling. Because I can't spell for shit. You got the right don't though, I'll give you that. But how can you hate someone you don't know? You know, judging like that makes you kind of an arsehole. Then you have, this one actually probably has a face, that's probably actually their face. And then it's just, dude, you have inhaled helium from a balloon. Indeed I have! But why stating the obvious? Strange. This is, this is on the worst computer ever. Same computer, but without a keyboard, mouse and screen, which is a little bit better than your voice. I wouldn't be entirely inclined to disagree with you, to be honest. And then we have... here's my favourite kind. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Star Wars character or something. You know, the funny one at the end of the first... I don't know his name. And then it's just like... kill yourself, and then their attempt to... I think that's supposed to be fur faggot, because I'll get to that later, because there's actually a comment if I remember, that I want to go into more details about it. But yeah, once again, why? What is the point? Why would I kill myself? I have a pretty awesome life as it goes. It's not without its challenges, but whatnot. But then everyone has their challenges in life. And then we have, oh yes, religious spam, and I'll let you read my comment. But yeah, all this about religion. This actually goes into let's have a little tangent on religion, because as anyone knows, who's been watching me for long enough, they know that I'm atheist, which is pretty much the definition. I do not believe in God, just in one word. Loads of religious folk don't seem to comprehend that it's basically just a word for a statement of, I do not believe in any kind of deity. Because let's be honest, all the religions, regardless of what they are, you can actually go through their holy texts and methodically disprove just about everything in there. You know, by putting it up to the thing called science. This is why a lot of religion, you get a lot of the especially hardcore nutjob religious folk hate science, because they know it proves them wrong, and they can't stand being proved wrong. They can't stand to think what they've stuck for all those years was a massive waste of time. So they sort of delude themselves into thinking that science is wrong. But this is the thing with this kind of thing is you can prove it fundamentally wrong. You know, it's like you can get, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but you know, you get things like Jesus walking on water. Well, you can scientifically prove that's impossible. And then you compare things like the miracles that he did. Oh, feeding a few people. And then you look at what we've achieved with science, and it's like, well, look around you, the whole society. It's brilliant. You know, I could sit here in my room and talk to someone across the other side of the planet. And it looks like I need to tend to my reactor at the moment because it's going into meltdown again. But you can do that. You can talk to people in space like that from the International Space Station. And that's just communication over the wonderful internet. You gotta love the internet. And that's the thing. The only point of religion you cannot disprove, and that's because it's an unfalsifiable hypothesis, is the possibility of a deity. Because it becomes an unfalsifiable hypothesis. You can't prove it exists, you can't disprove it exists. But the trouble is that comes there is if you automatically assume an unfalsifiable hypothesis is correct, then you run into the problem of believing all sorts of kooky crap that isn't real, just because you can't prove it's not real. Whereas if you have a more sceptical eye towards it, then you can look and see, yeah, the actual possibility of a deity of any kind is extremely low. There may be something that I very much doubt there's any being capable of creating a universe out there. And the next one. You may notice we're getting a lot of these. By the way, nice dog if that's your dog. You have an annoying voice. Well, thank you for telling me something I already know. And I'm pleased you enjoy my voice. Maybe I should hunt you down, find your address, record just loads of me talking, and send it to you in the post. I'm sure you'd love that. That'd be brilliant for you. Then we have this is the resident sort of troll that sort of appears and disappears at random. But unfortunately, they have not been around that much lately. It's just, you're a faggot. By the way, I love your profile picture of the terrorist scaring the shit out the child. But seriously, if you're still around watching my videos, please come back because you make me laugh. And then it's just, yeah, I'm God pretty much. These guys are obviously trying to get a rise out of me but don't have the first clue on how to. Maybe this acknowledgement will bring them back, who knows. But yeah, if you want to come back, feel free to post some of your colourful comments in the comment boxes because they're kind of funny, and anyone who you really don't need to worry about replying to this guy. Trust me, I find them funny. They amuse me. Like most things. Seriously, none of you guys need to reply to any of these sorts of comments because I just find them funny. And here we have them again. Have you ever sucked a dick? Nope. Oh, this is on one of my drive time videos, this was. And it's a tranny driving a car. No, I'm afraid I'm full male, and you shouldn't be so disparaging to the transsexuals. It's not fair on them. And it's just, I was soaking weed, and then I see a tranny driving a car, and it's just like, yeah. Still, you shouldn't be so mean to the transsexuals. But still, do come back because you are an amusing fellow and I love your profile picture. Maybe I'll nick that for one of my own profiles. Then we have this one. This is SSN. First off, you want your name to be SSH. And then it's version 2. And then it's just, oh yes, this is one I love. This is probably my favourite comment. Don't you have some yiffing to do, furry? We all know you sick fucks do in the boonies. You should be getting on with that instead of tipping your fedora. I'll tell you what I like about this comment. This is one on where I was debunking some religious crap on the internet. It's the fact that they acknowledge my argument was sound and that they couldn't counteract it. So instead, they decide to attack something superficial. And in this case, it's my profile picture because it's of that lion thing on YouTube. And first off, sadly after some research, it turns out that yiffing is basically just sex. I was hoping it was going to be some style or something I hadn't heard of and could maybe eventually try. But I don't know what boon is. So if you want to elaborate on that in the comments, please do, because that could be an interesting act, or it could just be a name for a body part for all I know, and frankly I can't be asked to Google it. I got shit like this to build instead. Yes, you'll have noticed that's not set out in a circuit yet. I've just been gathering the components together. And this is where I have to show, because only one person has worked out where the lion profile came from. And let's actually reveal that to you guys, because everyone's just like, oh, it's furry or something. No. First off, we go to Google. I need to look through that thing and see if there's anything confidential on those. I can do that in editing. Here we go. Oh, my thing's in the way. Hang on, let me just move that. There we go. This is where my profile picture originates from. It's nothing. I mean, the person who created that could be a furry for all I know, but it's nothing to do with that community. It's one of my little obscure nerdy things, and this is actually a pretty decent word processing system. I'd recommend trying it. And there's a more sort of this is more the text-based system where it's CLI, but there is more, and I can't remember exactly where it is, information on that elsewhere, so you can go up that corner this time. So yeah, that is where the latex lion came from. It did not come from the furry community as most people seem to think it did. While there's certainly aspects of the furry community I can relate to, because most of them are like massive animal lovers and whatnot, it's not something I declare myself as. But yeah, there's aspects of the community I can relate to, but it's not a community I'm actually a part of. So, and there's the schematic to the thing that I'm showing you. So if you want to build that, feel free, if you've got a Spectrum radio and a Hubsan. So yeah, that's where that comes from. But anyone who knows what boon is, put it in the comments. Could be an interesting thing to learn about. And then we have this. I can only assume is a foreign language, except when you read RU. Because the rest of that is just pure gibberish. Now, if someone wants to tell me what language that is, or is it just pure gibberish? Because it's just supt RU. It's just... Is this an actual language, or did someone just mash the keyboard? Because I suspect someone just mashed the keyboard. And then we have someone's trying to rip off Ashen's profile picture. Dude, you are a man. Don't play games anymore. Go outside and get a life. Fuck you telling me what to do. Fuck you. If I want to play video games for entertainment, I will. Because I'll tell you what I do when I'm outside. I fly quadcopters. I'm learning to fly a plane I built. And I've even drawn stupid things on it. You may be able to make them out, you might not. And shall we bring up a different project? Nah, just I like taking electronics to bits, and that's what I enjoy. And hacking computers, hence I've gone into security. But that's the kind of thing I like, and yeah. Why would I want to go out there? It's raining. It's currently raining, dark and gloomy. Screw going out there. It's unpleasant. And then we've got someone on my... This is one of those... The first one was off a video where I got pissed, and I will completely agree with you. But why does... I do generally aim for videos which provide some sort of at least educational or entertainment value of some form. And oh god, I need to sort out my wiring under there. It's an absolute mess. And yeah, I will agree, but you know, not 100% of my videos have to be highly intellectual or on that spectrum. There's nothing wrong with doing the odd brainless thing as long as it's not the majority of your content. Because there's plenty of shit on bloody YouTube, which is the most popular stuff on YouTube, and it is nothing but mindless drivel that is 100% incredibly brainless bullshit. Not just like, say, 5%, no, 100%. Where you get these vloggers who have nothing interesting or useful to say about anything. And then this is on the one of the probably Google Plus things, and it's like, excuse me, they fucked it up. You might realise that's a bit of a reference to Planet of the Apes there that I was doing, and just doing my own spin on it. I'm sorry, but your bullshit is wrong. Well, at least you're apologising, but I wouldn't say you have to apologise for your opinion. Google is plenty of smart. Yes. I would agree there. There are plenty of smart individuals in Google. And I dare say not retarded. Yeah. That is called expression. An exaggeration. We do that sometimes to exaggerate and explain a point. Sometimes for entertainment value. Sometimes just because it helps us vent some anger we have over the shitty ass interface we're dumped with on a yearly basis, and they somehow make it worse every year, and I do not know how they achieve this. But Google are the masters of making interfaces worse and worse with every iteration. Contrary to your drivel, I'm pretty sure I hit on some decent points in there. I mean, I can't be asked to go and look up exactly what video it was. They have made dumb choices for sure. Well, I'm glad that we can agree on that. But when it's coming from the EEPROM 9, that's right, nothing! It's like highly degrading it. You know, you don't have to be the harbinger and knower of everything to criticise something. There is nothing wrong with picking up legitimate criticisms and exaggerating them somewhat for a more entertainment or frustration venting sort of area. You know, so I like to exaggerate on things. I quite often exaggerate on things. It's something I like doing. It's enjoyable. It's part of my personality. It's the same thing. I'm also incredibly sarcastic on things quite often. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a huge amount of my sarcasm that you're not picking up on. Because you seem to have picked up on my tendencies and realises that of course I don't think Google are retarded. That's just something I said probably out of spite and anger. But they have made some ludicrously stupid decisions with Google. And I think part of the problem is this kind of... the trouble is they have a web platform that's successful. And they need to sort of basically continue to give developers something to do, because otherwise they're just going to sit there with nothing to do all day and only fix things when they break, which if you're in a career is actually kind of boring, being stuck with nothing to do. So I swear they just do this for something to do every year, just so they have a massive dev project, rather than rather than actually trying to do something interesting. I mean, things like the Google car and whatnot, the self-driving cars, they are the sorts of projects that they need to be pursuing more, not redesigning YouTube. Seriously. Continue with the actual inventive projects. The products like Google Glass. Yes, okay, Google Glass failed, but then the thing was fucking expensive. Not pissing with the interface on YouTube, which was perfectly fine back in 2011. And all what they've done is just made it worse and worse since. In fact, in 2010, it was fine. And they've just made it consecutively worse. They haven't improved it, so what was the point? They'd have been better off putting the developers into more useful projects. And don't even get me started on the Google Plus integration. That was just a disaster. But yeah, I'm going into the tech field. Make of that what you think, Mr. Unreal P-Cube. Ah, good old Henry. I don't know. I guess I wanted to talk about this chap a bit. You are evidently unaware. Notice this is a lot like the last comment, and I wouldn't be surprised if the person is pretty much the same personality-wise as Henry was. By the way, look up that channel. It's like parody thing of One Piece. You might find it funny. I personally don't really find the humour that amusing, because the trouble is with us two was our sense of humour was completely different. But you might find it interesting, so I'd say definitely watch it up. I doubt he gives shouts out to me. He hates my guts now. Unaware of the relevance of video times in your YouTube comment. I say again, 0.25. Yeah, I probably wasn't aware of the relevance at that time because I didn't give a shit. You know, sometimes that's why we're not aware of something, because we don't care. And you could have been pointing to something like, what? But yeah, what happened with this guy was, have we really been recording for over half an hour? This is going to be a long ass video. But this guy, it was coming to the end of year 3. I'm going to make this as short as possible because this video is long enough. But it was coming up to the end of the year, and he wanted to move into the nice expensive flats, which would have been nice, but there were two problems for that. One, he could barely afford the uni flats he was already renting from, and he was in the cheaper ones than me, and he was not paying up. They even had the bloody accommodation staff knocking on the door for the rent. Two, he was messy as hell, dirty, grimy, kept his room. I used to sit in there with my shoes on and refuse to go to the piss, even though I was bursting because his toilet was so fucking disgusting. I didn't even take my shoes off. That is not rare for me, because by a matter of manners, I will always remove my shoes when I go into someone's house, because you do not want to be treading mud around their house. But in there it was so grotty, I didn't want any part of my body to touch anything in that room. It was horrible. It was grotty as hell. So that's kind of why I didn't want to live with him. Plus, he had one of those personalities that he was fine. I really need to tend to my reactor, but we'll leave it. But he was just grotty like that, and it was grim as hell. And he had one of those personalities where he was just sort of very arrogant, very full of himself. You'll notice in the drive time video, I pretty much spent the whole thing taking the piss out of him. Because I did that a fair lot, actually. Sort of took the piss out of things he said, and he never noticed. But you know, he was fine. It was fine seeing him every so often, but I'm not sure I could live with the chap. It'd drive me fucking mental. So he'd keep going on. He'd never listen to me when I said, you can't afford it, I can't afford it, it's not going to work out. So it came to the point where I was going home for the weekend. Now I think he caught me while I was going for the weekends, and it's like, come back. It's like, yeah, I'll come back. So I lied out my arse. And so I headed back, and I pretty much realised that friendship was over there and then. And I smartly left my phone in the car over the weekend because I knew he would ring it 5,000 million more times than usual, because he already rang my phone 5,000 million times a day. Jesus, you know, I somewhat wonder if he had a crush on me, which, yeah, I'd have definitely rejected him on that one. Sorry, but you weren't really my type. And so, yeah, so he rang me 5,000 billion more times than usual, so I had about 5,000 billion more times bloody missed calls on my phone. Notice I exaggerate, you might be noticing, because to ring someone that much would take a scrupulous amount of time. But yeah, he rang 5,000 million, billion, trillion, zillion, krillion, another billion, trillion, infinity on top of that times than usual. And so when it got back, left a whole host of snarky emails and whatnot. And when I tried to actually talk to him, because I was actually willing to talk to him over. I was actually willing, yeah, I understand you're upset. I was actually willing to talk with him over it and come to some sort of rational adult conclusion, but he was not mature enough to do that. He went off and he never actually went off on to my face rant. No, he wasn't brave enough for that. No, he just went off on snarky emails and comments and crap like that. And so that ended that relationship. And it's kind of sad because as it went on, he ended up slowly dropping out of each lesson. He came from sitting right next to me every lesson to sitting at the opposite end of the room in the lectures. It was quite amusing. And so it went like that, and slowly he just disappeared out the lectures. Mark actually, my tutor, talked to him and was just like, yeah, take the rest of this year off and come back next year, which he never did. Surprise, surprise. And so that was how that worked out. I haven't heard from him since. I haven't tried to contact him since, because what's the point? That friendship went down the pan, and frankly I'm probably better off that it did, because he was an obnoxious arsehole. That's life lessons. And that's not even going on about the bitch who was in my flat, who I really despise, and we're not going to go on about her because I could rant on about her all day. She was fucking horrible. Back to our comments. What? Ah, have we hit all of them? Indeed we have. Back to Windows then. So yeah, that's how we conclude our video, after a little bit of a thing about ex-friend. So yeah, for those of you wondering about that one, that's the story behind how that relationship failed. There's also another point where he was definitely a manipulative character. Another thing where it was getting into the thing about YouTube channels, where it was determined that his was better than mine, despite the context of what we do are completely different. Mine is not aimed at comedy. Yeah, I throw the odd little skit and joke in here and there, but whether you laugh at it really doesn't matter. I know there'll be people who will be nerdy enough to get the humour and have a giggle, but most probably won't. They're there. It's fun. It's fun to do. You know, it's not what I aim for. I'm aiming at a very niche audience, hence my subscriber count is still bloody low for most. It's over 1,000 subs now, which is quite surprising. Took long enough. It took over 4 years to get there, which is crazy. You know, we're getting to the 5th year of YouTube now, or something like that. If I started in 20, yeah, it would be the 5th year of YouTube when it gets to the. I think it's 2nd of March. Bloody hell, I've been doing YouTube for 5 years now? Jesus, that's crazy. But yeah. And so in this situation, he wanted to do a Digimon Abridged series, which I really wasn't interested in doing the first episode and cluttering up my channel with that kind of crap. You know, yeah, it's fun to do something like that now and again, but really? First off, I lost interest in Digimon long ago. In fact, I even watched some episodes recently to see if it even holds up, to which it's alright. I don't quite know why I was obsessed with it, because it's kind of a shitty kids show that has the odd good moment in it and not much else. It's kind of like cheesy and corny as hell. yeah, have faith, man. It's like, oh, yeah, oh, fuck off, bloody nonsense. It's just like, yeah, the only thing I would still say is Machine Dramon is still a badass. Machine Dramon was probably the only character I continued to still like. Because I picked that as one of the episodes to watch, because that was one I quite enjoyed at the time, and yeah, that one was still actually quite interesting, although I still reckon the ending of how he died was such a cop-out. It's just like Mega Argumon just goes, what is it, War Greymon or something, and dead, that's it. I was expecting some grand battle between the two, and we were never rewarded with such a thing, whereas other characters there was more of a grand battle against in that particular saga. But hey, that's Digimon for you. It had its moments, but I look at it now and it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of crap. And so he wanted to do a bridged episode on that, and it's just like, I didn't want to, and it's I also had work to do, and so I told him that I'd be down in the library doing work, and I have no doubt he'd checked the library, couldn't find me. So he came to the flat. Ring, ring. I don't know how many times he pressed that fucking button at the front door. I think I even had one of my flatmates come to me, and it's just like, I just told him, leave him. He's trying to pester me, just leave him. And eventually he came round to my window, because I was on the ground floor as anyone. I don't know. Were any of you aware that I was on the ground floor for the first 2 years? But anyway. So he came round to the window and I was like, Simon. Now I was sitting in here watching YouTube videos at the time, and I heard him there, and I knew he could hear YouTube going. I knew he could hear it, so I just sat there silent. Not moving, not saying a thing, just silent. Shit. He can hear YouTube, and it's just like, I better turn it off. No, if I turn it off, he'll know I'm in here for certain. And I just ran on the uncertainty thing and just sitting there silently watching my video, trying not to laugh. I think I was watching EV blog at the time, trying not to laugh at Dave Jones' jokes, because he makes some jokes that make me laugh. Although Mike's Electric Stuff's ones on RF are absolutely hilarious. And so I was sitting there silently, just waiting for him to go away. And eventually, after God knows how long, it was before the video edited. I think it was 10 minutes. He stood out there at the window, shouting in, "Simon, are you there?" And I just pretended to be out, that I'd gone out, left YouTube on or whatnot, and buggered off elsewhere. And then once he'd gone, I knew it was safe to move. I even checked out the window, peered through one of the gaps in the curtains, because the curtain was closed at the time, or I'd have been fucked. I do not know what I would have said in that case. I had no plan for that. So then I buggered off to the library and did the work that I needed to do down the library. This was, 6 o'clock? Yeah, most of my uni work I did in the evenings. I never really did stuff in the days or mornings. And so the next day I was expecting him to really go into like what was going on. I heard YouTube going, and I thought up my excuses. I came round them. Yeah, I was in the library. I left YouTube running because I couldn't be asked to stop it because I'm a lazy arsehole, even though I never do this. He didn't have to know that. And so I basically prepared all that. And the only thing I got out of it was, I came round your flat, knocked, and checked in the window. It's like, oh yeah, I wasn't there, I was in the library doing my work. And he did not mention anything to do with about avoid YouTube going or anything like that through anything he heard from in the room. He did not go on about any of that. By the way, the window was open, which was a mistake, but I was probably hot at the time. And so that was a lucky escape, I think. But yeah, he was quite a lot like that. It was very much what he wanted to do and only what he wanted to do. And this drove me mad. He'd phone my phone about 5,000 fucking times a day, and it got annoying. I would just... it got to the point where no one else really answered. No one else got answered because of him just phoning me all the fucking time. He was like a clingy girlfriend. But the thought of having sex with him, no. Not if he was the last man on earth. But yeah, that was pretty... that's another interesting thing. I probably have more stories I could tell you about him, but frankly, with a runtime of over 45 minutes, I think it's time to conclude the video. So, I thank you all for watching. I thank any of you who have actually made it to the end. I'm interested to hear what your comments on things are and what I've talked about in this video. And, yeah. Considering people bang on about these troll comments all the time, it's really kind of a load of nonsense, but they're not nearly as profound as people make them out to be. There's just like, it's the odd things now and again, you know, people widely over-exaggerate on how bad the whole someone calling you gay on the internet is, and people actually get offended by that shit. I mean, really? I certainly don't give a shit. I mean, I just find it funny, so yeah. If you want to carry on trolling me, feel free. At worst, I'll block you when I decide you're not funny anymore. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy, and yeah, don't worry about the trolling. It's a load of crap. It's just basically people being cyberbullies a lot of the time. They're not even doing proper trolling, which is supposed to be the practical joke stuff. But this video is far too long, and we must end it here. Thanks for watching, all that good jazz, and I just found a screw.